Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Defy the Stars. We have a fancy new tabletop.
Woot woot.
Courtesy of Green Ronin and Foundry working together and doing amazing things. If you don't know who Green Ronin are, please type !expanse into the chat there, and you'll be able to see, yes, just like that, final. And that's who Green Ronin are. They make the rule set for this. I apologize for sounding like Avesarala right now, but I have a cold.
You do kind of sound like her now that you say it.
A little bit. I just don't swear as much. Or, like, at all.
You need more whiskey.
Oh, that might clear my throat if I gargled some whiskey. I actually tried, I've got some Listerine. I tried gargling some Listerine to get some of this out, and I'm not going to describe what happened, but it was exciting. Oh, that reminds me, I need to turn off all of my exercises in Twitch. So this is us just chatting for now while I get everything finished getting ready, which I should have gotten ready like yesterday, but I didn't because I'm me.
Well, and you were busy. We were singing.
We were singing. That's why
He did not sound like this. Yeah.
Is this a result of the singing?
It's a result
Belching
of
out those high notes.
It's a result of doing things to make my voice able to sing while having a head cold.
DE, I can see Twitch on your stream.
You
I can see. Yeah.
There we go.
Is that deliberate?
No, it's I clicked on Twitch and it was like, this is the window you wanted to open in? And no, I didn't want it to open in. I need to narrate the nature show with his voice. Hang on. And here we observe the battle cruiser in its natural habitat. Devoid of oil, it stays in the harbor. Connected to shore power, though, it is still quite a formidable opponent to any possible predators, like budget committees. What do you think? BBC gonna hire me?
Oh, I think you're pretty close.
You don't have the British accent though, so
I had a little bit of a faint one there. I was trying to go real mild.
Old American.
No, it
Like
wasn't
pure
really American.
David
That was more like a British person who was living in California for way too long.
Oh, Dre would watch. How nice. To be fair, Dre watches like all of us all the time. How are all of you? I hope none of you are getting sick. It's that time of year.
It certainly is.
So far, so good. No sickness.
Okay.
Yes, but I think it's time to get down with the sickness and begin our tabletop adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery might hire me, yes. Next time on The Deadliest Catch.
Either that, or for the next series of Who Would Live in a House Like This.
I don't know what that is.
Through the Keyhole, I mean. You never
I
heard
still
of
don't know
Through
what
the
that
Keyhole?
is.
No.
It's one of the worst programs you'll ever see. I'll have to send you a clip afterwards.
All right. Sounds good.
I love the best worst kind of shows. They're the best worst kind.
Yes. Anyway, we should probably give our viewers a recap because it's been 4 weeks. I think.
Has it? No, it
No,
hasn't.
it was 2 weeks. That's right. It was a 4 week gap the last time. Just 2.
Yep.
It just feels like it's been 4 weeks because there's been so much stuff happening.
Let's see.
I did know that, Vice Corp.
There we go. Get my timer set so I don't get overly distracted and we run too long. Well, did one of you guys want to give a recap, or do you want me to do it?
If you wouldn't mind, my voice is somewhat tired today.
Nope, that's entirely fair. The newly christened Good News vessel that has been salvaged arrived at Tycho Station to basically finish the legal paperwork, as well as getting the ship checked over and make sure there's not any hidden mechanical surprises, technical surprises that might cause them a problem later. However, they still had an airlock full of dead bodies, as well as an unconscious individual, and a cargo bay full of, up until recently, MCRN military hardware that needed to be dealt with. And so the question was exactly how do we deal with this in a way that doesn't arouse too much suspicion or attention from either the wrong or right sources. Party reached out to a contact that was provided to them from the captain. Why did I close my notes? Because I'm the best GM ever. That's why. Was a foreman there on Tycho Station that owed the Captain Carroll of the Shakespeare quite a bit, and has helped keep things running smoothly for the Bard when and where he can. There we go. Bennett Watson. There's his name. And he helped, or is in the process of navigating, assisting with the various checks and inspections that would be required, as well as accurately but vaguely filling out paperwork as far as what cargo the ship had on it. So the ship has been declared to have salvaged cargo and machine parts, without being specific as to what those machine parts are machined to do. And we're kind of in the middle. I think I had narrated out that there was a couple of different inspections that were to be done, but basically they're all going to kind of run relatively smoothly, since you've got Bennett pulling strings and making sure the right person arrives to actually do the inspections. With that being taken care of, the crew, well, all but Rebecca, NPC mechanic, has left the ship to get a drink, maybe relax a little bit, possibly try to make some connections and see about shifting this cargo and making some money. We'll see. And have arrived at the Blue Oyster Club.
I've forgotten the name.
To switch back over. There we go. Carter has arrived first, and I think we established is at least 2 rounds in.
Yes.
And did Carter get any further in the time it took the rest of the party to arrive, or?
He is not. He's just been relaxing and enjoying his beverage of choice.
Essentially just being there to be seen. Nobody. This is a OPA, very OPA friendly location, which is saying something given the fact that you're on Tycho Station, which is probably one of the more open OPA publicly available places in the system to begin with.
I think it's actually technically run by the OPA, since Fred Johnson owns it.
I wasn't sure how official that was, if that was officially recognized.
There's OPA and then there's OPA.
And there's an official and OPA are
yeah. So yeah, it's one of those that it is, and and then there's the other factions of the OPA that give the rest of the OPA a bad name. And so I think that's more or less where we left off.
Yeah, I think we were all we had just gotten to outside the bar, I believe, is where we let off last time. So it's the motley crew.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're out there, and what does the sign look like on the Blue Oyster Club? Is it just a blue oyster?
It's red neon.
That's
right.
I think
we established.
We established
it's in red. I think it's probably just the name. I don't think that there would be a picture or anything, because a lot of folks probably on the belt wouldn't actually know what an oyster was unless they looked it up. So it's, to a lot of folks, it's just the name. They don't really know what it is.
the name is Blue Oyster, but the icon is actually a turtle.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
I
can roll with that. I can roll with that. I feel like that's appropriate.
It's a way to vet the Earthers.
Yeah, it's, if anybody
That's
walks
not
in,
they just tell them to get out.
Yeah.
just leave. Overall, well, I guess since this is a location that Carter sought out. What's the overall decor and vibe of the Blue Oyster Club? I'll let you go ahead and kind of make the call on that one.
It's very dirty and dingy, and it's your typical dive bar where they don't really take care of much, and the beer isn't great, and the service is kind of terrible, but you can meet people there without raising suspicions.
Music is just loud enough to make it hard to overhear conversations that you might be close to, but not so loud that you have to yell to have those covert conversations.
Absolutely.
Lots of shadowy corners and booths that are arranged in such a way to break up line of sight. So, yeah, there you go. Given the fact that it's OPA, they are probably playing the music that's being played is probably the quote music that was coming out of EOS.
I was just thinking that.
I think that's probably still, it would be pretty popular because a lot of folks wouldn't really understand. Well, nobody really knows exactly what happened to EOS.
Eros.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. Gentle correction, not a criticism.
No, that's okay. Yeah, so it's still probably pretty popular throughout most of the OPA. So.
Okay, well, Chester looks up at the sign and goes, here we are. And just sort of walks in, hoping everyone else follows him.
June looks at the sign and bites her tongue and follows him.
Thomas also follows in and goes, Hey, Chester, June, have you heard this one? An Earther, a Martian, and a Belter walk into a bar.
Oh boy.
Shut up.
I look around for Carter. Do I see him right away? Do I see you right away, Carter?
Carter's he's at the bar.
Yeah, one of the few reasonably well lit places would probably be up towards the bar, and like Carter's intent of being there was to be seen. So I don't think you'd have to work too hard to find him.
Are there a lot of people in the bar right now, or is it like what time is it on the station? Like, is this prime bar meeting time, or is this Carter getting a little hair of the dog at like 6 a.m?
Tycho strikes me as one of those places where it kind of operates 24/7, and it's just a matter of what shift happens to be on and what shift happens to be off. So at a place like this, it would be really difficult to tell just by the number of clientele what time it was. But to specifically answer your question, I think it would be
generous. I'll have to get you a special banana.
You'd have your terminal with a clock on it that would pair and,
and
let you know what the local time
was.
I know I said something when you interacted with the Port Authority individual. It would probably be getting relatively late in the day for like the first shift, so it wouldn't be uncommon to see like the first shift folks starting to come off. So probably in that 4:30 pushing 5 o'clock kind of time frame.
But there's just a few people in the bar kind of thing. It's busy but not like packed.
Yeah, there is a cluster of folks that you can see at a table a little further away, and then there's a few other folk that are sitting at the bar. You can tell relatively quickly that they are dressed as like Tycho security, but they're definitely, their attitude and their body language would put them like that they're off duty. Kind of the collar's undone, the jacket's open, that kind of thing. And the fact that they're, actively sitting there with a drink in their hands would generally indicate that they're probably on their way home after a shift or something like that. Other than that, there's not too many other people in the bar.
Cool. I'll walk up to Carter. Hey, Carter, is this a favorite place of yours?
Just a place I know about. Take a seat. Stop being so suspicious.
Suspicious? Chester immediately looks around.
You're too friendly, Chester.
Okay. And he sits down. What's good?
Whatever they serve you is good.
Is the bartender close enough to be paying attention?
Yeah. A new arrival of half a dozen or so folk would definitely get her opinion. And she hasn't actively stepped over there, but she's definitely watching to see, basically be called over to take orders. But she's also, again, given the kind of bar it is, she's not going to actively intrude on a conversation, basically unless called to do so.
So Carter kind of raises his hand, points at his own awful mushroom-based whiskey, and gives like a spin of his fingers to indicate to get around for everyone.
She just gives kind of like an upward jerk of the chin to acknowledge, and sets about, pulling the drinks together.
So have you guys made a decision about what we're doing with the cargo?
Chester looks at June, who he is beginning to think of as his boss.
It hasn't been investigated yet. I am waiting on them to show up. But after that is done, and I know exactly how they feel about it and what's going on with it, then we should be able to decide. Do you have anything that you have in mind? Because I don't.
I think we should sell it and get off of this place.
I know you want to sell it, but do you have any idea of who you would like to sell it to?
Whoever can pay me the most money.
Well, you're very helpful. I'm so glad I have you around.
Well, the last time we had this conversation, you got very upset that I wanted to sell it to a certain particular type of people.
Yes. I don't want to go straight to the and she just kind of looks around.
To the what?
The
To
who?
what kind of people?
I would rather find people who would like to buy it and not be shady about it. Isn't there another person that we can talk to who isn't underground?
The only people I know are underground.
Almost everyone I know is underground. Chester says under his breath.
Final eye roll.
We're in space. How can anyone be underground?
Well, they're not in space if they're on a planet
You knew what I
underground.
meant. Never mind. I'm not going to try and make jokes anymore. So, are you trying to find a buyer right now? Chester says, looking at the drink in Carter's hand.
I'm not trying to find anyone. I'm letting people that want to find me find me.
And nobody has found you but us.
I'm a lucky person.
June sits down next to Carter.
How generous.
And
I'll have to get you a special
she
banana.
just kind of she's okay being in here now. She's still kind of on edge a little bit, but she feels a little bit better. And she looks around and just goes, "So, do you have a time frame for how long you would like to let people look for you?"
I think people that need to see me have seen me. If they're interested, they'll come find me. If you have something else we got to do, we can do it.
Well, I personally am just going to get back to the ship in about 30 minutes or so, just so that I'm there for the inspection. But then after that, I can come back and find you if you think you're still going to be here.
Carter just kind of raises his glass and jiggles it at her before he downs it. Like, I'm not planning on going anywhere.
Oh, good.
Chester starts looking through the menu for like snacks and things to see what's on the menu, because he doesn't know what to do with himself.
June turns to Thomas and is like, "Hey, Thomas, can you make sure that you are here to drag Carter back when he's done?"
It would be my pleasure.
Oh, good. I'm so glad.
It's around now that the bartender brings over and sets glasses in front of the rest of you, as well as holding the bottle to top off Carter's, kind of with a kind of holding it almost questioningly, if you wanted another one.
Always.
Tops it off. Just kind of gives all of you a look. Probably definitely like stops to evaluate June more than the rest of you, because June really stands out. And then, basically makes her way back down the bar to keep kind of cleaning some glasses or something like that.
With a really dirty rag.
It's depends on your definition of clean.
Fair enough. Chester picks up the glass and sniffs it. What does it smell like?
Alcohol to start with. Probably not, anything overly. It's alcohol of some form.
Some sort of acetone scent.
Yeah, it may be closer to something that Rebecca might use to clean engine parts with, than any other real good booze. But I don't know if Chester would have a lot of frame of reference to.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So I mean, you recognize it as alcohol, but that's about as far as it goes.
Oh, stop sniffing it and just try it. Here, watch. And Carter picks his up and just downs it in one go.
I've never actually drank alcohol before. He sniffs it again, kind of wrinkling his nose.
Chester, how old are you?
I'm 39.
You've never had a drink of alcohol in your life, and you are almost 40 years old.
They don't let you drink in the Martian Navy?
They let people drink, yes. I come from a religious family, all right? And I just never really felt the need to... And he kind of looks down at the glass again with a furrowed brow.
You're with a new family now. I recommend you drink it. It'll help.
June, under her breath, is like, all of the religious people back on Earth are the heaviest drinkers.
Okay. Chester brings it to his lips and takes a tiny little sip.
It tastes exactly as you would expect. It's alcohol. It's trying to be whiskey.
Oh, look at him.
You drink this for fun?
I don't know if... Do we call it fun? Carter, do we call this fun?
I wouldn't call it fun, June, but it definitely helps pass the time.
Oh.
I think that's my favorite part of drinking, is watching people like you.
What do you mean, people like me?
And she takes her cup and downs it as well. Just kind of beats your chest once and goes, that's good.
Chester desperately looks over to Thomas, seeking any kind of support.
Thomas shakes his head as he's letting Mars down by appearing such a weak whatsits, and turns to stand with his back to the bar. He takes a sip, but keeps his lips together, so he doesn't actually drink anything. Looks like he is.
Go ahead, just for giggles.
Oh no!
First roll of the night.
Insight check.
Well, it's like dexterity, sleight of hand. Basically, to see if you can pull off pantomiming.
Oh, that looks so good.
Oh, I actually see them. Cool. I didn't know it would do that. Neat. Another new toy that we're playing with is it's a module for Foundry that adds the 3D dice, make it look a little more interesting. But let's see. Oh, that's an 18. Yeah. I mean, anybody, sitting there, looking at you, it would look like you just took a pull on the drink.
Odd thing. I saw the 3D dice, but the pictures of the dice in the log are broken link images.
Doing the same thing. For
Oh,
me.
okay.
I don't even see the roll in the
Okay, I'll have to take a note of that because it looks fine for me. But I'll watch back the stream and I'll see, and I will get in touch because this is a module from outside of Green Ronin that we're running.
Okay.
But then I think they provided some assets to the module to get the actual 3D dice would look. Yeah, but I will let them know. Cool.
Chester closes his eyes, picks up the glass, and downs the whole thing.
Constitution test.
Yep. I think that's fair. I think that's called for. Okay.
That's 17 according to I'm just reading it out loud so people can hear it since we can't actually see it on the screen. It's tiny.
Yeah. The test results. 17's pretty good. You managed to get it down. You don't necessarily feel any other immediate side effects of it, but you do manage to get it down. You don't spit it back out or anything.
It tastes like mold. Oh.
DE, try clicking on my dice settings because when I clicked on that, the rolls came up and the pictures are showing properly.
If you hadn't actually activated the because there's some settings on the player side that you can set, and so it may not have recognized if you didn't have it set up yet.
I clicked on my dice settings. Nothing's coming up.
We can troubleshoot it later.
No.
Yeah.
What? I must log in to order and access the game. Go back.
As I just see everybody log out of Foundry
What just
Virtual
happened?
Tabletop. I don't know.
I'm still here.
I'm
Yep.
here.
I'm accessing the game. I'm coming back. Hey, I see it. Huzzah.
It won't let me close my dice settings.
Oh, I don't want Earth. I want Mars.
The close button doesn't work for you?
No.
Hit
And I-
refresh.
Yeah, I don't even see the only three
Oh, look
users
at
I see
that.
on the table right now are me, DE, and Scarlet.
Yeah, it logged me out.
I'm gonna refresh again.
Oops.
That happened to me too. Oh, well, apparently it's just the dice on there are just gonna be blue. That's fine. Well, this is exciting.
Doing it live.
Yeah, I'm in. I can see the rolls now.
So, and
Yeah, that
there
was
should be
weird.
some settings in there. I think you can customize. I don't know if it'll change what it looks like for everybody else, but you can change what yours look like. If you don't want them, you should be able to turn them off. Cool.
It's okay. It's just something I'll edit out and post later.
I mean, again, this is the real experience.
Yes. Authentic tabletop.
Especially when we changed the underlying system. I threw a couple of extra modules in here. We have all sorts of new toys to play with. Technical difficulties will happen. And the fact that I still only understand about maybe 30% of what Foundry can do doesn't help.
It's all good. You understand far more than we do, so it's all good. Anyway, so
yeah, we managed to get it down with I'd say a minimum of coughing and sputtering afterwards.
And I can just feel it burning in my stomach. And despite not feeling I wanted to come up, I really don't want to drink anything else because I feel like if I do, I am going to have to let it come up. He looks through the menu. Does he see anything starchy that he could use to soak up? Because he remembers hearing friends and coworkers talk about soaking up the alcohol after they've drank.
Let's see. Is this the kind of place that actually has food?
Don't you have food in your pockets?
We could always go get some noodles.
I mean, talking about soaking it up, looking at Chester, I think that's just going to be a case of a mop.
I don't. There's not anything on the menu that would indicate that they serve food.
Oh boy.
There are little bowls with what you would gather would be some form of like pretzels or like nuts of some sort. But you're not seeing anything. It doesn't look like they have a kitchen or food that they can.
Is one of those bowls within reach?
Yeah. There'd be. You wouldn't have to get up and move very far.
He leans over with his very tall frame and very long arms and grabs a bowl and slides it over, as long as it's not in front of another patron.
Nope.
Slides it over to himself and just puts a couple in his mouth, starts chewing, and just swallows it down to see if that'll help the burning, awful feeling in his stomach.
I mean, a little bit. As you do this, you can see that like the bartender is kind of leaning on the bar now, abandoning all pretense of not watching this group of folk that is now in her establishment, and there's just this like almost disbelieving kind of look on her face.
Does Chester notice her looking at him?
I mean, she's not trying to hide it, so if you feel like Chester is observant enough to notice something like that without a roll, then sure.
Well, I'm just thinking he's facing the bar, leaning over to grab it, so he would have seen it. It's not that he's super observant, but he just sees it, and kind of smiles at her and goes, "Hello." Just eats another. What are they, nuts? What are they?
I mean, you'd have your choice. Some of them have like what would pass for peanuts or something like that. Others are basically like a pretzel kind of thing. Again, it's all like reconstituted mushroom stuff.
Right. So as he eats another one, he kind of swallows it, realizes that he might be being rude by acting like he doesn't like it, and looks over at the bartender and just says, "Best looks over at Carter, whiskey that I've ever had," and then eats another nut.
Carter just kind of looks at the bartender, kind of shrugs with his hands because is.
June she's had a little half smile on her face this whole time. Just kind of shakes her head.
So, how are all of us doing with what's going on? I feel like
great.
things have happened quickly. Oh well, okay. So you're fine with things.
I'm fine, and signals to the bartender for another round.
Carter's fine with most things at the moment.
I'm getting that sense.
Bartender comes back down, tops off Carter's. She will stop and kind of look Chester up and down, and then she goes ahead and tops off his glass before returning to what she was doing. Again, returning to at least the pretense of kind of working behind the bar.
June watches her leave and raises an eyebrow, and then just kind of looks at Chester.
Oh, I'm sorry. She would have filled June. Any of the empty glasses she would have filled.
Well,
Sorry.
Okay. Because she was gonna make the comment that I'm pretty sure she did that on the house just because she got such a kick out of watching you.
So once all the glasses have been refilled, Carter will raise his and goes, "To the good news.
The good news.
Let's keep her around us and not us around her."
What a fantastic thing to say. And June downs her next drink.
And Carter downs his and then slowly turns expectantly to Chester.
Chester looks at the glass again.
Okay, well, you study that. Has anybody seen Nigel?
Nigel slips in behind the folks at the bar, having been there for the past few minutes, as if he had been kind of stumbling through the door in the first place when everyone came in, and downs his drink to the good news, and then nudges Chester and says, "Are you going to drink that?"
Why do you want it?
Nigel takes that as he doesn't want it and downs Chester's drink.
Oh, thank goodness. Chester says underneath his breath.
You ruin all of our fun, Nigel. You ruin all of it.
Bad luck not to drink your drink to a toast to your ship.
Do they have like root beer or something?
Swallow your own spit. Call it a drink.
I mean, technically, I'm sure part of what he was just drinking used to be a root of some kind.
I don't think fungus have roots.
Well, they have mycelia, don't they? It's sort of a kind of root.
I guess.
Just don't question. I was trying to give you a way out, but never mind.
Chester is embarrassed. Chester is confused, but Chester feels kind of happy that they're making fun of him because it makes him feel like part of the group. He looks over at Nigel and says, "Thank you, Nigel."
Nigel just nods at him and slips back into the back of the group.
To whatever box he came out of.
Surprise! Slipped into the vent.
Imposter!
Vote him off!
All right, so not that I'm not having a great time, but is this all you usually do on your time off, Carter? Or is there something like, I don't know. I know my family, when we went out somewhere, would usually like play card games or something. Is that a thing Belters do? To be perfectly honest, I'm a little ignorant of outer planet culture.
So, Carter kind of raises an eyebrow at him and goes, "I don't think you want to play the games we play." And then he, glancing down at his terminal, he looks at June and goes, "Maybe we should get back to the ship and check in with boss man there."
Well, I was about to head out anyway. If you want to stay here, I don't care. I can head up there myself if you want.
I don't think Chester can stand staying here too much longer.
You're probably correct. Chester, if you want to come with me, you can.
Let's get this stuff wrapped up as a group, and then we can figure out what to do with that cargo.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm if you guys really don't want to stay, I'll tag along.
So Carter
Making
kind
it
of
seem
looks
like
back at the bartender, and it's like, "Hey," it's like, kind of mentions to her, it's like, "Anyone comes looking for me, let me know." And he thumbs the payment at the bar to pay for everyone's drinks, and then stands up.
Thank you, Carter, you gentleman and scholar.
Yes, thank you.
He wrapped his arm around Chester and goes, "Oh, we got a lot of learning for you to do, son."
How old is Carter?
He is 39.
Oh, so we're same
They're
age.
the
Okay.
same Z's.
I look
Very different
forward...
lifestyles, though.
Yes, I look forward to it. And he looks over at Nigel and Thomas. Are you two done, or do you want to stay? We can wait for a few minutes if you guys want another. The little crunchy things in the bowl are pretty edible.
I'm done. I would like to find some kind of duffel bag that is perhaps rifle-sized on the way back to the ship.
And Chester, didn't you want new clothes? You want new clothes?
Yes, I am starting to understand that coveralls are not... I mean, on board ship, yes, but sure. Some showier clothes for when we're doing business, I guess? He's being first military, then just kind of like doing whatever work that he was able to do on Mars. He's mostly worn coveralls his entire life. He's worn, like, when he wasn't wearing coveralls, it was because he had to be in like undress or dress uniform. Otherwise, all coveralls all the time.
June grins and goes, I will happily help shop, but...
No dresses. I don't want to wear a dress.
Ah.
Not practical in 0G.
How about a
Practical has
scout?
nothing to do with it.
What was that, Thomas? I didn't hear.
What about the scant? It's definitely not a dress.
Well, I mean, maybe you can model one for me, and then we'll go from there.
I think that you guys would love skirts.
Yes,
June-
just not on me.
June giggles and then she starts strutting back in her pantsuit, by the way, which is what she's wearing right now.
Mhm.
So she's going back to the ship to make sure she's there for the inspection.
Chester shrugs and should we all go back to the ship, or should we go to your duffel place? I could probably use a bag for various things if I'm going to have clothes. Because all I have right now is just a few sets of coveralls. And I feel like we're going to be collecting some items.
Side note here to the GM. I feel like since you already mentioned the last time how the thing goes, that
Mhm.
you don't need to follow me, so you can follow the guys.
Yep, that's fine.
Especially since the baby is being the baby. Okay. I mean, Thomas, do you want company looking for bags? I know bags pretty well. I used to work on the terraforming project after my time in the military, so I know a good duffel when I see one. He's not joking. He's like deadly serious about being good at seeing a good bag. It's important to have lots of exterior pockets.
Bet you're real fun at parties, aren't you?
The 3 or 4 I've been to have been fine. No one really invites me. I don't know why.
I couldn't guess either. Yeah, let's...
Nigel, Carter, you
Swiftly
coming?
on.
Or Carter, you head and go back to the ship?
I'll head back with June, just in case.
And Nigel is already slinking towards the bar, finishing other people's unattended drinks.
I mean, they're paid for, so they're going to waste otherwise.
And with that, Nigel's out the door.
Is Nigel walking with us, or are you just gone?
I don't know. You probably lose him in the crowd a little bit, but you assume he's going back to the ship.
Okay.
So it's just Chester and Thomas going to grab a couple of duffel bags.
Sure.
Okay.
That's not suspicious at all.
Yep. No, I mean, crew's coming through. I'd say it's not difficult to find a place that would carry, some sort of luggage or duffel bag kind of stuff. And given the way income works, I don't think it would be a problem. I mean, neither of you have a 0 income score, right?
Yeah, I think I'm 4. I'm actually
Okay.
pretty okay for someone who started off as lower class.
Yeah. So I think, sourcing them is not a problem at all. So yeah, you would have a couple. Thomas, as best as you can tell, you'd probably be able to fit one of the rifles in it. We'll have to see exactly how stealthy it is, because a rifle in a duffel bag generally looks like a rifle in a duffel bag without some additional work. But
I'll put some socks around it. It's fine.
So while Thomas is picking out a duffel that he likes, which I imagine has flames on either side and maybe a picture of a spaceship on the thing, Chester goes,
Or
okay,
lightning bolts.
okay. So you want this for just toting your rifle around to the gun range, or to have with you so people don't know you are carrying heavy weaponry?
Taking a step closer and lowering my voice slightly so the entire shop doesn't hear about our...
I was right next to you. I wasn't.
Just making sure.
When you
just
lean in
making
like
sure
that, it's a
said.
lot more suspicious.
Saying, well, if we do want to take it somewhere, we probably don't want to immediately walk through customs with an assault rifle slung over my shoulder.
Sure. I'm just going to say that that one being a little flamboyant might draw more attention. What about this one over here? And Chester points to another duffel that actually has like a little cardboard or like maybe 3D printed, whatever they make it out of in the Expanse, inserts on either side that kind of hold the duffel bag shape so you can't really see what's in it. It's also just like gray, and it's got lots of pockets on the outside.
No. You've got the wrong idea, you see. You want something a bit flashy because everyone will think nobody would ever try and hide a rifle in that.
Whatever. Chester buys two. Chester buys two of the gray ones so that when Thomas eventually fails with his flashy bag, he can have an extra one. But does not tell Thomas that he's buying two for that reason.
Okay, yeah.
Thomas quite happily buys the flashy bag.
Easy enough to do. So 3 duffel bags have been purchasased.
On the way back to the ship, Chester wants to stop by the noodle place. It's a little out of the way because it's over towards the passenger terminal. Hey, Thomas, I want to go grab some of the noodles of this place that I had. That actually, I mean, I'm sure they were mushrooms like everything else, but they were actually pretty good. If you want to grab a bowl to kind of soak up the whatever that was that we drank.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
All right. Go get a bowl of noodles.
Yep. Takes a little bit longer, but you collect a little cardboard carton of noodles, seasoned or prepared as you would want. The shop itself is kind of the definition of a hole in the wall. You kind of walk in and there's just kind of a little bit of room behind the stools. There at the counter, then behind the counter are the guys, the folks that would actually be making it. So they're kind of made to order, and then since you're getting it to go, they just throw it in a container and off you go.
You want to try the spicy ones with the shrimp. You'll enjoy those. I'm sure it's not actually shrimp, but it feels like shrimp. At least it feels like the shrimp that they gave us in the Navy, which probably also wasn't. Anyway, it's good.
Shrimp? All we ever got was the slop.
Oh, maybe the medics got... Anyway, try. It's good. It's good. Try it. It's good. Like 4 stars, though. Like 5 is a little much. And Chester, like, opens up. Well, Thomas is deciding. Chester opens up his box and just starts chopsticking noodles into his mouth.
Mm-hmm. No.
Thomas quite happily starts eating.
All right. I'm good. We can go back to the ship now. I just wanted noodles.
No problem. Hey, I mean, when you want noodles, you got to get noodles. I get it.
Oh, noodles are so good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, everybody I think makes it back to the ship. Shortly after you arrive is when you kind of get the notice, and we'll kind of go ahead and sequence through that. That evening, or kind of into the next shift, is when the initial mechanical inspection crew shows up. It's a couple, 2 or 3 people, and so Rebecca is kind of following them around, trying to watch what they're all doing all at once, since they're poking her ship. And then I think it would be like early the next morning is when the cargo, in air quotes, inspection is done, where the guy basically steps onto the ship. No, yeah, that's great. Yep, that's another one. Yep, that looks like, machine parts, and then stamps everything. And so kind of by mid-morning the next day, the only thing you're waiting on is some of the final paperwork to clear for the salvage status of the ship, which is essentially just a legal opening for if there's anybody out there that might have claim to the ship, they would have an opportunity to also lay claim to it as well. So you can't technically leave Tycho just yet, but for the most part, a lot of the paperwork is now at least in process.
So June is just busily and happily doing paperwork in her cabin, I'm assuming. She is currently away from the computer, so.
Yeah, that will work just fine. But then, yeah, the next day is kind of yours.
Carter's have you heard anything about people wanting to talk to you about random things that you didn't tell anyone?
No. No one's contacted me.
Is there a space Craigslist for machine parts? That's me asking.
Maybe.
In whatever the lingo is for the Expanse.
I mean, I feel like there would probably be something. It's just a matter of how documented you want a transaction like that to be. But there might be a way to reach out and kind of post a nondescript, essentially for sale listing with the right kind of words or phrases in it. So if people understood what it means, they would know. Probably would require a role of some sort to put together a message like that.
Right. Well, before we sell anything, what do you guys think we just kind of go through? Since they've already been through and they've inspected everything, he kind of rolls his eyes a little bit. Should we just go through and see if there's a few things we want to keep to ourselves before we move the rest of it? Since we've
I think we should definitely go through and keep some things for ourselves.
First
maybe
off,
turn one of the spare bunks into a storage unit for said items.
I mean, we could probably keep it in the cargo bay. If the crates seem to be quite useful at hiding things, but
I think Carter's onto something, if only because if we want to go into legitimate business, when we're going to have to hide or otherwise obscure these crates every time we go into a port to pick something up. If what we're keeping is kept in a quote-unquote bunk, I think they'll be easier to keep hidden.
Okay. Either way, we should probably go through everything, and we should definitely keep that data core hidden. I don't think we should sell that.
Maybe we should get Rebecca to hide that somewhere so that only she knows where it is, so that no one goes talking about things they shouldn't be talking about.
That's not a bad idea, Chester says, a little surprised.
It's one thing OPA knows, it's how to keep secrets. Even from yourself.
Noted.
June over in the corner doing paperwork raises her eyebrows and goes, sus.
So should we all head down to the cargo bay and start picking through stuff?
I think that would be a good thing to do, yeah.
All right, so we...
Thomas, to Carter's comment, grumbles something about... I actually had to quickly Google the name of the thing. Didn't work too well during Operation Silent Wall, and walks off. Which is the big anti-inverted commas piracy suppression that went on before the series started. Gotta get that jab in.
Chester, despite himself, gives a really brief snort and then smooths his facial features out like he'd never laughed at all.
Give me 1 second. I'll just continue without me. I'll just be 1 minute.
Okay. So we head down to go start picking toys out of the boxes that we want to hang on to before selling the rest of it.
Yep. There are, as mentioned, there's rifles, pistols, shotguns. There's even a couple of longer range, like sniper rifles, of various configurations and with some attachments. Quite a lot of ammo, some of which would be like armor piercing or, kind of special, give you maybe a little bit of advantage. There's also some, as the system qualifies it, light armor, as well as medium. Light is... let's see, from the book, modern anti-ballistic material intended to stop bullets and other weapons. Similar in weight to a light jacket or lined jumpsuit, and is thus very easy to wear without drawing a great deal of notice. Medium armor would be more like kind of the vest and maybe some like leg and arm protection.
Kind of like the Babylon 5 security armor stuff.
Little bit. It would be a lot harder to conceal it. Possible if you chose the right outer garments, but you're still going to look kind of odd. And
so
then
June can't wear one when she's wearing her dress, is what you're telling me.
I mean, she could. Would depend on exactly how billowy and flowy the dress was. I don't know exactly what June has in the closet.
She's got so many things in the closet.
It would be very difficult. And then the one of the, let's see. There are, as I mentioned in the chat, a couple 3 complete sets of heavy armor. This is not like Goliath power armor, but it's still like this is some pretty impressive stuff.
It's like basic marine armor.
Yeah, I believe it would be
the
like
Goliath armor was like specialized recon armor.
Yeah, and it's got a lot more going for it. But the heavy armor is what I envision. From the show, what I immediately jump to is when
like the stuff in their armory lockers that's standing up there.
Yeah, and when they're escaping from the Donager, that would be examples of heavy armor. It's all sealed, it's all contained.
So it's like a combat spacesuit, basically.
Basically, yeah, it is. It's got anti-ballistic material, impact gel, integrated medical systems, a pressure suit. It's in there. Self-sealing gel that will close around any punctures to maintain integrity. As well as then the actual like armor plating and helmet. This is not something that you would wear in any way with the ability to
blend in.
To blend in.
People know you're looking for trouble. The only place
heavy armor is blending in is in the middle of a firefight. And even then, you're going to stand out. So, there would probably be another crate of a couple of 3 drones.
Just nothing to do with them.
Just space.
Has not been activated. There is some other crates that have like the MRE, the food packets, and then the one that has the false bottom with some sort of like computer core in it. Is still there, although all of the rations from that one have just been kind of haphazardly piled back in, minus the desserts. Those have been rated pretty heavily.
Dessert.
Did you say that crate had 3 drones in it?
There was, it looked, yeah.
It's funny, I thought there was only 2 in there.
It's because you're the 3rd drone.
No, I mean, you found the 3rd drone. It had been dispatched.
Yeah, I definitely only see 2 drones left in there. I don't know what happened to the 3rd one.
Oh okay. I got you. There is indeed, yeah. There's again a slot for 3, but there's only 2 in there.
That's weird. Must have been budget cuts or something. Winchester sees it.
Hashtag, where's the 4th drone?
6th drone? I don't know. Something.
I didn't pick up on what was being said there. Sorry about that.
Well, I mean, I think Nigel doesn't like to have things picked up on when he's saying them. He prefers to say things for effect, but it's like a delayed effect. He drops the bomb, walks out of the room, and then there was like, oh,
yeah.
Wait, we disagree. Oh, he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what was that?
Anything else from you guys as players that you might be interested in having access to? I mean, I don't necessarily have a thorough, list put together. There is, I think, it's been mentioned. Did I say there were some medical supplies? If there's not, there are some basic medical supplies.
Okay, like refills for the auto dock.
Well, we don't have an auto dock.
We do. We were given one by
the Bard.
By the Bard.
There's probably some stuff that can be made to work. It's not anything that's like specifically manufactured for the auto dock, since one wasn't included. But it's stuff that I think the auto dock could probably tell you how to use.
When Chester sees all that, he's like, "We should keep this. I can do good things with this." about the medical, like the whole medical supplies crate. Like, we should just keep this one. For sure.
Yeah, you might go out drinking again. Then we'll need it.
He like cracks a, what are those tablets that wake people up? He like cracks one of those and waves it under his nose.
Oh, smelling salts. There you go.
Smelling salts, yeah. It's just, much better. Well, I think we don't want to pick it too clean because we don't want to have, I think we want to maximize our profit margin so we can get started as a legitimate vessel here.
I think we keep some light armor. I say we keep the heavy armor and a couple rifles. We sell the meds, and we sell the rest.
If we keep some rifles, then I'm guessing one of you fine gentlemen will have to teach me how to use one because I do not know. I know how to use pistols. I do not know how to use those.
We're definitely giving a pistol to June. I remember
I have
hearing.
one.
Well, but these are these.
Rebecca, let me take it.
Well, we need a new pistol for Rebecca then. And then Chester finally pulls Thomas's pistol out of his pocket and hands it back to Thomas, and then takes a nice MCRN pistol.
I was going to say, were there, just to confirm that, are there any military-grade pistols in the crates?
Yes, yeah, there would be some sidearms and ammunition for that as well.
Personally speaking, light armor, the rifle I've already got, and a military-grade pistol I think is the way to go.
I say we lock it up in one of the spare bunks, sell the rest of this stuff, and get as far away from here as possible.
All right. Chester. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I've lost all of the notes that I had before.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember who the third contact was.
There was Lee Garrett and Alexander Mitchell. Lee Garrett was the broker, the cargo broker, good for smaller vessels.
Yes.
And Alexander Mitchell, by his name, I have "Be careful" in the notes.
Right.
He's a
So-
black
Yeah, he's the.
marketeer.
I knew the black market. We just hadn't even talked about Lee.
Yep.
So
I think those are quest givers, not people we'd sell to. Technically.
well,
I
but
mean, could be.
if
Yeah.
if he's in like small cargo or whatever, then he would have contacts that would probably be willing to buy.
At the
Yeah,
very
probably.
least, he might be able to give us a job that will give us an excuse to get out of here, rather than, hey, we're just going this somewhere.
Goodbye. Yeah, leaving without a destination is a good way to start looking like pirates. So
Well, just since it came up for Lee Garrett, I think that basically the summary that you got was there that they have a kind of like a small cargo brokering business, generally specialty cargo of some sort. Not necessarily specific as to what that cargo is, but
so more like a
basically
courier, like
a
less
little
than
bit. It's kind of like if you were to get what do they call it? Like
Uber
UPS
Eats for
Red
space.
or something. It's the we're paying you to ship this, and we will pay you for like speeding tickets and stuff like that. Just get it here quick, rather than handing it over to a bulk cargo carrier. That's why it's not somebody that you would have ever encountered while on the Shakespeare, because it's not really the kind of work that a cargo hauler like that does. But it's somebody that the captain pointed you to because you now have a vessel that's kind of what you would do.
But we did find out that
we-
Shakespeare is
we-
fast enough for that.
Mhm.
We have a
And
jewel box, not a treasure chest.
Yes.
part of the reputation is that she is not above dealing with cargo that may have accidentally missed certain customs checks, or the paperwork might not be quite in order on that front.
Oh, okay. So we actually might want to talk to her about getting rid of some of this stuff.
That's what I was thinking.
I see what you're thinking. Well, you lost your notes, so you didn't know any of this. That's how that works. In tabletop, if you don't have your notes, your character's just forgotten it, and it's gone
Right.
forever.
Okay.
It depends on how nice the GM feels like.
Yes.
Being,
Well, the notes were in the other format.
Mm,
So
gotcha.
yeah.
they haven't gotten that table still exists. So if there's still stuff that needs to get transferred, it'll still be available.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
So
Well, then I think everybody should pick out what they want. Chester's going to pick out. He's going to pull out a pistol, like I said. He's going to pull out light armor. He's going to pull out a shotgun.
These things exist as in the weapons folder yet, or
they should, unless the permissions didn't get
I think
set
the permissions are not set currently.
Right. That
I
sounds
see
about
baton,
right.
knife, pistol, taser, and unarmed.
That sounds about right. Because again, when you create something in a folder, you would think that it would select the.
You'd think. But that says no.
Range 0, max range 0, cost 0.
I don't quite have everything punched in. I was mostly just getting the listing so they could be added to the sheet.
I'm not expecting to have a firefight today. Please, no.
I mean,
right.
it
So
could happen.
yeah. So as Chester pulls a shotgun out, he goes, "Oh man, I loved using these things on the range," and just pulls it. And is it a magazine or is it a tube loader? Whatever I want it to be.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be a tube loader. It'll be a.
Say there's something satisfying about the thump thump.
Yeah. And it's basically a future version of your standard pump action shotgun. It's just got it just is modified to work in vacuum or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get the noise in vacuum. You need the noise.
Oh, if you say that in game, it's like you feel it. You still feel it in vacuum. And he puts that in his gray nondescript duffel bag along with the several boxes of ammunition for both it and the pistol. The light armor goes in the bag. A bunch of the medical supplies that he takes like a good chunk of medical supplies, puts that in the bag as well. Grabs some of the remaining desserts from his pockets, go in the bag, as well as just some of the choicier bits of food out of the MRE pack. He's trying to take stuff from boxes that are already open, not stuff that's still closed.
I can't say the thing I want to say.
So he still ends up with like the the nasty stroganoff and stuff, but he's got all that. So he just kind of grabs he basically has now turned one of those bags into like a go bag for like, this is, if he's going somewhere, this is where he's going. Because he might not have lots of life experience, but he was a Mars scout when he was a kid, and he knows he needs to have stuff ready. Is that a thing, Mars scouts? I think so. It is now.
Sure. I feel like
canon.
I feel like it would have been.
Yeah.
So, June would have taken a holster and a knife, and taken one of those, and then probably would grab a pistol, but the MCRN one isn't in there, so I'm not going to put that on my sheet.
I haven't gotten that one created yet.
Yeah. And then she's going to walk over and see a sniper rifle and be like, this one looks smooth and sleek and pretty. I like it.
Anti-material rifle. I don't know if I'm not trying to be offensive, but it takes a lot of upper body strength to use one of those repeatedly.
Not in 0G.
Oh, it takes more body strength than 0G, believe me.
I mean, she handled the drink better than you did, so I think it's worth at least letting her try.
Don't let the Martian talk down to you, Arthur. Take what you want.
I talk down to everybody. I'm the tallest person on this crew.
To be fair, I don't know how to use it. But I like it. I think I'm going to at least take it and put it in the closet until I can use it later.
You'll probably want those as well, and he points out the armor-piercing rounds for it, as well as the regular, like, full metal jackets or whatever bullets they use.
Okay. She takes one of the rifles and just kind of carries it with her, and then she also gets a thing of light armor as well.
How tall is June again?
She's only like 5'7".
Okay, so the rifle is like 2/3 as long as she is.
Yeah, well, and I'd say there's probably some heavier rifles, but there would also be the like not necessarily the anti-material ones.
Well, then that's up to June which one she grabs. If it's like something like a Barrett, or if it's something more like a.
I'd say there'd
a
probably
300.
be one of the more anti-material big, 50 caliber size ones, and then there'd be a crate that's got a couple, 3 or 4, smaller ones that are still very lethal, but they're not designed to put fist-size holes in things from quite so far away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Chester, having been chastised for talking down to her once, is not going to tell her which one to pick. Did you grab?
Go ahead.
Nab, did you grab the big one or just a normal one?
It'll just be a normal one.
Okay.
I would say the other thing June could look at doing, if she felt so inclined, she would need to find the right person to work with it, but you could probably take a couple sets of the light armor, and then basically get some of the material integrated into a couple of your outfits. It would just take some time in finding the right tailor, basically, that knows how to work with it, if you want.
That would be good. It's nice to have the pretty person also be less squishy.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you just take it as is, it's probably like a jumpsuit kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
she would probably, if she felt like she really wanted to wear it, she would probably just wear it under something. But
okay, I just wanted to give you that option if it was something that you felt June would do.
She would, but not right the second.
Yep, that's not a problem.
But so she would take like 2 or 3 and store them away for when she talks to her tailor again.
Yep. Okay, I think
While everyone's talking about sniper rifles, Nigel's going to grab a set of light armor and casually try and tuck a meter-sized drone inside of it and sneak up the ladder.
I think we're gonna need another dexterity sleight of hand check here to see how if you're as smooth with this as you are with the whiskey. It's at least open if somebody wanted to roll like a perception seeing or a straight perception.
Me, perception.
As opposed to
me,
it.
definitely me.
I feel like the 14 at least leaves that as a possibility.
And while
Essentially, if
everyone's
you meter
watching
beat
Nigel, I will.
The 14.
Sorry, go ahead, Squirrel.
I believe if you meter beat that 14, you'll see him. Okay.
Oh, you see him?
So June is watching him try to sneak this away, and she's not gonna say anything that loud. She's just gonna.
Nope.
Thomas loves his gun.
Thomas apparently had his head in the crate at this point.
she's gonna just kind of walk over to the ladder and gently say, "I see you."
Nigel looks down at June as he's starting to climb up the ladder and goes, "Shh."
I say it is worth noting that 14 is kind of right up in between the challenging and hard on basic test difficulty. So I mean he was pretty sneaky. It just turns out June is just as perceptive as he is sneaky.
Yes, yes,
So,
she is very.
That's her thing. That's her thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she kind of just looks at him and goes, "I see you." For a second time after the shush, and then just kind of walks away.
Chester's happily packing his bag to make it look like it's carrying clothes and not any kind of weaponry inside of it. And then he zips it up and goes and picks it up and shows it to Thomas, like, "Look, see? You have no idea what's in here. And the foil from the MREs is totally going to block the X-ray scanners."
And while everyone's paying attention to them, Carter is dragging 2 full sets of heavy armor off to his room.
I think we're going to notice that. I don't know if you want to make him roll for that one, Squirrel. I feel like
Sorry,
we
what
know
was
that.
that? I was
I'm
reading
not
something.
trying to hide it. I was
You're just
being
dragging
cheeky.
it.
I was being cheeky about it.
So he's dragging 2 sets of heavy armor
This
off.
stuff is all ours. We're not stealing it from each other.
Okay. I mean, yeah. off over on one side, there's just the pile that you're kind of dragging together to claim your stuff. And because I feel like a set of heavy armor probably takes a couple of containers each with all of the stuff, and there's kind of enough of it for 2 sets there.
Well, I mean, I put one set on, and then I put the second set on over top of the first set.
Yeah.
Like a little kid in winter.
Oh my gosh. I don't think that would work with it, but that's
No,
hilarious.
it totally wouldn't work. But the
My
visual
helmet
is
has a
hilarious.
helmet.
Yeah.
June kind of like is pondering, has a pondering look as she's like slightly looking at the ladder, and then kind of loudly so that Nigel can hear, she says, "Do we want to keep any of these drones? I don't know how to use them, but they might come in handy."
I
Just
think it's worth keeping them. I flew a couple to support some Marines in the Navy, so I should. Hopefully, it's like riding a bike, and I can get back into it.
As long as you don't turn them into turn on the security mode like those other ones were in. I really don't want to end up like that last crew.
We probably do want to crack into them and change all the passwords just in case.
Nigel will probably be good. Where do you... Nigel? He
Hey,
just
was there
realizes
3
Nigel's
drones
not in there.
Nigel sticks his head out from the deck above and goes, "How many drones?"
Figure we just keep them.
We might as well just keep them all.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe take the ammo out of them while they're being stored.
That's a good call.
And we should have enough spare parts from the 2 we fragged and the 3rd one we found offline to keep them running.
Okay, so
All right.
drones are being kept. 2 sets of heavy armor. I'll just leave it as still there's a sorted number of like rifles, shotguns, and stuff. But it would, after you sell things, it'll be a reduced amount.
Yeah. Right now it is a cornucopia.
The main thing is you're selling 1 set of armor. Like, how much of the ammunition would you guys want to be offloading? Like, right now you have enough regular ammunition, you'd really not have to worry about it in most circumstances. Like, if you got into a situation where you had to use most of the regular ammo for these, things have gone very, very sideways in a very big way. Other than, like, the armor-piercing stuff is a little more...
Do we have a machine shop aboard this ship? We don't, do we?
No, that's one of the things that I'd say somewhere in here, June, you would have gotten a message from Rebecca that's basically here's the wish list for tools and spare parts that she would like to have. And it's one of those, the list just keeps scrolling.
Right.
But yeah, and she's kind of ordered it in list of priority. But that's some of what Rebecca has on her wish list would be appropriate, but almost like a small machine shop that you gather she's planning on repurposing one of the unused rooms for.
That would be expensive.
It
Yes.
very much is.
So and June would have this all, she's like going through it after she puts everything away. And she's going through the list, and she's probably gonna seek out Carter and show him the list and let him know, like these certain things take priority because Rebecca says the ship needs it and I'm not playing with the ship. So
Is Carter there?
Yes. Sorry. No. I wasn't sure if that was just this is something we plan on doing or if
It'd
this is
be either
happening
one.
right now.
that's either one. But yeah, she would have said something to Carter about that, and this okay, in character then. So Carter, I have a list here from Rebecca of various things that she sent me a very long list, but there are a couple of things for sure that even just looking at this list, I know that I want it on the ship. So when we eventually do sell stuff, I think I want to make sure that we definitely pool resources and get the things that the ship needs before anybody tries to spend money on anything else.
Yeah, can I see the list, boss lady?
Yeah, here you go, boss man.
So he kind of scrolls through the list and he's looking at it, as someone who's lived in the belt their whole life. Like, yeah, this all looks like stuff that we definitely want on the ship before we leave port.
Okay.
I agree. We should definitely pay the ship first, pay ourselves last.
All right. Well then, I was thinking about getting in contact with Lee, the
Welcome
person
to the banana
contact-
band.
that the captain said works with like small cargo and stuff like that.
Was that the straightforward lady or the one that's kind of bent to the side there?
Straightforward one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. I will try and get in contact with her and see if we can move some of these crates. Has anybody come to you? And I guess at that point we turn to Squirrel and see if anybody has tried to contact Carter.
We all look to the ceiling and ask the gaming god.
The powers that be, yeah.
No. If his presence in the Blue Oyster Club was noted, nobody seems to have acted on it just yet. Since you didn't specifically put out feelers as to what you were doing, they probably know you're here, but it seems like your efforts working with Bennett may be working against you in that regard. In that there's not a lot of information running around about what you have.
Yeah, no one's contacted me. I say we go with the captain's contact.
All right, and I'll keep you updated on that. Do you have any idea where Nigel is? I need to find Nigel.
I think he might be under his bunk.
Under his bunk.
It's the first place I thought.
I'll be in my bunk.
So June gives him a little mock salute and then goes to find Nigel. She would look under his bunk because she has no idea where he is.
Welcome to
I
the
guess the question
banana
becomes, how
band.
difficult is Nigel being to find at this point?
Nigel is up on probably not in his bunk, but is up on probably on the top deck with a drone in his lap, and he's tinkering away with it.
Okay. And so she eventually makes it up there. And since she knows that he has a drone, she's not surprised.
Look at our new tokens, they're so nice.
Drag them differently now.
Oh, they're locking to the grid.
Oh. They're also a little big, but it at least gives a general idea of where everybody's at.
We can
And
fix
lets
that
new
later.
folks see what the inside of the good news looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's our ship. Our little speedy cargo gunship.
I was gonna say, Carter, you're in my room. Get
Well, Thomas is in my room.
out.
No, this one is in the top right was the one I marked in the last game as being mine.
Yeah.
Go there, is that fine?
Mommy's on my side.
So once June finds Nigel, she gives him kind of like a little whistle, like a heads up. Hey, I'm here. And comes up the ladder. Hey Nigel. The other day when we went on station, I got a little bit of information on our friend hanging out in our med bay, our makeshift med bay. I was wondering if I could, because I'm a little bit busy with other contacts and stuff trying to move the cargo, and I'm wondering if you can do some digging and try and find some more information with what I got.
Nigel perks his head up and looks at her and sticks a screwdriver in his mouth and waves his hand at her for the terminal.
Okay, so she does that flick of the wrist, and all of the information she got goes to him. I was able to get a little bit of information on possible family contacts, but really not much else with what little information I have. So there you go. I'd be interested to know anything that you find out about him.
Nigel looks at June and goes, "How much information would you like to know about him?"
Well, I mean, seeing as we got the ship in rough shape and all of his crewmates are dead, and I would like to know as much as we can. That way, we will have the upper hand no matter what happens when he wakes up, if he wakes up.
Nigel nods his head up and down and goes, "So everything."
If you can, I am not gonna stop you.
Alrighty then. And Nigel puts the screwdriver down, looks at the terminal, and starts tapping away, looking for information.
Thank you, Nigel. And she's gonna go back down to her bunk and figure out how to contact Lee.
Okay. The information that Captain Carroll would have provided would have been like contact information, and you can see that it looks like Lee's probably located. Oh, I had a note and now I can't find it. Hold on. She is not located here on Tycho, but you can get a message sent.
Okay.
I'd say looks like the offices would be based on Ganymede. There it is.
Okay.
So you can shoot a message off, and it would take. Hold on, I need to. One of those charts I thought was, let's see, travel
Communications, yeah.
communication time. No, that is not. That's just travel time. There is one.
Yeah,
in the
I
book.
think it's the book.
Now I have
It's
to
several
remember-
hours, I believe, from
Yes.
from Tycho to Ganymede, at least round trip.
I know I saw that. There's the nope. Average distance. That's what I'm looking at. Not one of the charts that I have on the GM screen.
Yeah, Lord Zex, this is all
But
from
it'll
the
take a little
Green
bit of time.
Road
So
book.
if you want to
type-
compose either
I'll
a
show
voice
you.
or a text message, we will figure out. Probably we're coming up on break,
That's the,
so I'll probably figure it out during break.
That's
Okay.
where you can go to find everything.
So basically, she's gonna send a voice message this time. Lee Mitchell, or did I?
Garrett.
Garrett.
Okay, Lee Garrett. Mitchell
It's
is the
Alexander
black
Mitchell
market.
is the other one.
Okay, Lee Garrett. Hello, Lee. Lee, this is June McKenna of the newly acquired ship, the Good News. We are friends of Captain Carol, last name I forgot.
Lewis.
And Lewis, thank you. Captain Carol Lewis, and she gave us your contact information. We have some cargo that we got with the salvage of the ship, and I am wondering if you know of any people who would be interested in moving cargo or buying some weaponry, or anything like that. If you know of any contacts, please get back in contact with me. I have sent my information, and hopefully I will talk to you soon. Thank you. We're over at Tycho Station. We are, if you have anybody here, then that would be spectacular. If not, then we'll be happy to come to you. Thank you.
Okay. That message is sent, and I will have to see. I know I looked at that chart just this morning as I was prepping, and now I can't find it. So I will have to dig it back up again.
I can look it up while whatever else is happening. So
Yeah. Well, I think we're about 5 minutes short of break, so we may go to break.
actually,
early,
yeah, no,
less than-
we're
Yeah.
well, we're 1:31 right now, so this is actually a perfect time to go to break.
Oh,
so,
okay.
perfect.
There we go. We will take a quick break, and then be right back.
Does anyone still need breaking? Is anyone still AFK?
I don't think
Not that I'm
so.
aware of.
Say something if you're AFK.
Roll call. Anyway, he wants to turn this into a machine shop. Major renovations. Turn it into
I
a
think
machine shop.
I heard that. Yeah.
I wouldn't call it major renovations. Taking some walls out.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
major.
Well, if we're ready, I'll flip the screen back over. This time I did have everything's being recorded and everything is going out to stream as we're talking over the intermission screen. It's just like we're not in character anymore. So that was just how I'm running it so that people can still have something to listen to. I hope everyone got that when I was saying when I went. It's also a time that if anybody wanted to ask questions of the players instead of the characters, it's a time for that as well. But yeah, if we're ready,
go ahead.
If we're ready, I'm ready to start playing again. But if anyone still needs to take a bio break or anything.
Nope. And then once we have a map with labels that are correct, I can definitely get it updated on Foundry so they actually display for everybody.
Well, I'm gonna push.
Yeah, this isn't quite right. You're almost there.
Okay.
So Chester is on the bottom right of that level. The crewman is where you have Chester's label right now.
Okay.
And that would also be the med bay, because we have him
I can actually show
on
this to you guys.
that med bay right now. But then other than that, I think that's right. If Rebecca just wants to be up there with everybody, but
Well, I gave her that bunk because every crewman should have a dedicated space.
Yeah.
So that if we get a mission where it's like, you need to transport X amount of people, it's like, well, we don't have beds for that many people.
Well, except for Rebecca, we can have plus one more because Rebecca will sleep in the engine room. It'll be fine.
Well,
plus two more because
I'm
Nigel
not gonna
sleeps in the
force her
vent.
to sleep.
Bold of you to assume that Rebecca sleeps.
I didn't say she sleeps, but I said she should have a dedicated space.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
All of you are assuming that Nigel doesn't watch you sleep.
I'm just
That's
assuming
super
Nigel
creepy.
does watch me sleep, but it's really boring because I don't do anything other than...
That was beautiful.
I am beautiful. I have the game back up on the screen, and I think we're all ready to go if we would like to continue.
Indeed.
Where were we? We had just contacted Lee, right?
Yeah, I'd sent a message.
Now we're sending a message, and we are all polishing our loot.
And I double checked. I did find the chart. So if anybody has the book and wanted to look, it's page 117. Is the travel and communication times. And let's see. So you're basically the same orbit as Ceres. Close enough to
similar,
not matter.
yeah. There should. I thought there was a label on Tycho, but
Well, not for the communications tab. It just goes. It's just got like the planets and some of the other bigger locations. But you're basically on the same orbit. Probably close enough so as to not matter, and then you're just making the jump over to Jupiter, actually just shy of Jupiter to get to Ganymede. So that's about a 20-minute
that's
one
not
way.
bad
So
at
it's-
all.
No, not for communication. It's pretty quick. So
I mean, for light to go that long, that's a long way. But I mean, in terms of immediate, can we get the response? That's pretty fast.
Yeah,
faster than I usually get some text messages back.
and travel time. Oh no, that's just average distance. Like I said, depending on if you wanted to travel there, depends on your.
195 hours from Ceres to
something
Jupiter.
tells me you don't want to do that at 7G.
At point 3, it's 195 hours
Yeah.
from Ceres to Jupiter.
Yeah.
So yeah, call it just 190 or whatever, and that's average because like if they're at opposite sides. So I was actually thinking about that as because I want to GM at some
Orbital
point.
mechanics.
Orbital mechanics are a thing, and I know we ignore them for the purposes of stuff, but a churn effect would be, it just happens to be on the other side of the system, man. You're gonna have to travel for twice as long.
I could see that coming up.
Yeah, it'd be just little fun things that you can do with. I love this system. It's so good. It's so good. Me, the noob tabletop player, I love this system. Okay, so message is out. We're polishing our guns and armor. Oh, there's one thing. So is Thomas going to claim one of those heavy armor things? Was that what, since we're keeping it?
I was thinking against it. Generally speaking, that Thomas's attitude would be that chances are, if they're going to get into a fight, that it's probably not something where you could walk through a dockyard wearing a set of heavy armor and then turn up to it.
Thomas's armor is the ship.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, either way, Chester has it in his mind that Thomas is going to want one of the pieces of heavy armor, so he's going to go down and he's going to find are there like painting supplies on the ship or anything like that we can use to, like, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I'm not thinking like, airbrush sets, but something that they could use to stencil things on there.
There is
Well-
probably some assorted cans of what would amount to like spray paint of various colors.
Okay.
Nothing like real. None of them would match, kind of thing. But
Are there the colors red and yellow?
Well, if he's doing this for Thomas, wouldn't they already be Martian colors?
I have a plan. I just need to know if my plan will work.
What?
Let's
my
see.
helmet really, really obvious, so I get domed as
Hang
soon as
on.
I get into a firefight.
let me hold on. We'll do it this way.
It's heavy armor. You can get domed a couple times and be okay.
Okay. Odd or even?
Even. Yes.
Yes.
I have-
You have partial cans of both colors.
Awesome. What Chester would like to do is using because there's got to be tape and stuff if there's paint. Just tape. He's gonna just make a little stencil that says "Screamin' Firehawk" in the shape of a mohawk from the front of just above the visor all the way to the back, and then he's gonna like do the best he can at making little flames on there while we're waiting for the thing to go back. He's not a great artist, but he's not terrible either. He's got okay dexterity, so we'll see.
I was gonna say, would that be a dexterity?
This is
check?
gonna be a check. 100% is gonna be a check.
There is. Hold on. I need to double check something. Crafting. Where is crafting? Yeah, dexterity crafting test is what you're gonna have.
Yep. That's just my dexterity of 1.
Okay. Go ahead and give it a roll. Let's see how this turns out.
Don't fail me now, dice.
I tried to paint this for you, but I just spilled the paint on it.
Oh my gosh.
It's,
Oh, hey, that's actually not that bad.
that's yeah. Especially given the 6 on the stunt die.
It looks like well, actually, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Especially given what you had to work with. It
Would you
really
like-
you're sort of surprised when you got done, given you were working with, like, you're using up the last little bit of one of the cans as you were finishing. It almost wasn't enough. And the tape that you had was kind of old and not really. You really had to make sure it was down, and you peel off the last of the masking tape that you used, and like you steel yourself from like, man, this is probably going to look terrible, and it actually looks pretty good. It looks more or less the way it did in your head when you started.
Chester is exceedingly proud of himself and immediately pulls his terminal out and says, "Hey, Thomas, I got something for you."
Use one of your stun points.
You called?
Wait, quick question for the GM. With that many stunt points generated, does the churn automatically go up? Or is that if I use them?
Hold on. Let's go look. I know there's something there about doubles, but I don't know if doubles apply to the stunt die or not. Succeeds an ability test.
Succeeds.
No, and rolls a 6 on the drama
Oh,
die.
man.
So there's a point.
Boink.
You have not spent any of those points on a stunt yet.
D paints a helmet and the ship gets blown up.
Overcome an encounter hazard. No, yeah, okay. So it definitely boosts.
I moved
Little
it up
did
by
you know
one.
that he was painting actual fire onto the helmet.
I already moved it from 6 to 7, so if you, I don't know if you were on the screen when I did that, but...
No, that's right. As long as it got done. But
right.
that is absolutely correct.
But yeah, Thomas, come down to the, wait, which is the workshop, makeshift workshop that we're talking about? I'm assuming I did that in there, because wherever the armor is, I wouldn't have, lugged it out somewhere.
I don't think the machine shop, workspace has actually been done yet. It's just been discussed.
No, I was just proposing that. Out of
Okay,
character.
so then it's probably still in the cargo bay, so I'll be in the cargo bay. I made something for you. I think you're gonna like it. I'm in the cargo bay. Come on down.
I love it. It's amazing.
As Thomas comes down the ladder, Jester is standing there full Vanna White pose in front of the Screaming Firehawk helmet.
Thomas has a huge grin on his face, and just childlike glee.
All right. See, I know I didn't want to name the ship it, but I figure if you're going to have your own armor suit, then it should have a name too. So if we're ever in,
yeah, definitely.
There you go. There you get the Screaming Firehawk.
Oh yeah.
Chester's going to clean up his mess. And that's all I want to do until we have more. Oh man, random stuff is fun in RPGs.
Was this handmade? Are you an artist?
He's not an artist, but he's also not an artist. He draws and paints way better than I do. So so he attended a religious school, so there's lots of stuff going on. He and his family aren't rich, but his uncle is rich and so paid for a lot of stuff for his family. So he got a lot of benefits from that. And so he just thought, wait, I think I can do this. He's
For some
had
reason
some...
in my head, I'm just picturing some kind of retro throwback movement, and he actually sort of spent a couple of years doing illuminated manuscripts.
No, what it looks like. And so it says in block letters, Screaming Firehawk from the front to the back. It's on its side, so it's not like it's upside down or something. So the Screaming starts right at the forehead and then it goes all the way across the top to the back of the head. And then on either side of the Screaming Firehawk text are just these posterized red and yellow flames. just like going back into the side from each one. So that's what that helmet looks like now. Forever. Or until the paint falls off.
Amazing.
Chester goes back to his room to wash the paint off his hands and continue to feel very pleased with himself.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to do while waiting to hear back from Lay?
Chester's just going to take some time to quietly carve out a section of his bunk. Carter.
It's
Carve
okay.
out a section of his
We
bunk
confuse
to hide
ourselves
his
with each other
rifle
all the time.
under it, in case they ever do get boarded by someone who isn't quite so liberal with the inspections. Basically, squirrel his stuff away quietly.
Okay.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Kind of what was the one episode of Firefly when Jane reaches over and kind of pulls the thing down off his wall, and there's just a wall of guns.
Yes.
Okay.
He gets a poster of Farrah Fawcett, puts it on his wall,
Okay. Let's
then
see.
digs a hole through with a spoon.
I feel like a roll is needed here. But what kind?
We're doing all this stuff that should probably have a machine shop before we have a machine shop.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Well, so for now, I think if this is more just a like hide it underneath the bunk kind of thing, or find a place in the back of a closet to store it,
He stuffs
Yeah.
it,
where it's
stuffs
not-
it underneath the mattress along his
Yeah,
lingerie magazine.
yeah, and then
An
with an
accuracy
eye
roll
towards
hiding.
I think we will leave it until there's an opportunity to do something more permanent, and if it comes up before something more permanent is done, we'll deal with the roll then.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, he's gonna hide the rifle, but just have two fully assembled heavy combat suits standing beside his bunk.
It's just decoration, you know. Some people
Oh, yeah,
buy
those-
miniatures.
I buy the
models.
full thing. Yeah.
1-to-1 scale. Don't worry, they're not
Yes.
real. Wink, wink.
Mhm.
Now, question with the how adjustable is the sizing on the heavy armor?
I mean, it would reasonably fit just about any of you, but that's why it would take, especially the first time, it'll take some time to get it on and get it sized.
Okay.
I don't know if the book gives specific like donning armor times.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if like for some reason June's in it, but she's like swimming in it, or if Chester has to put it on, but he can't seal it because he's too tall.
No, I think it would be designed such that there's some variance, and that's what the first time you put it on, you have to kind of get everything sized right. You know, so if the two of you tried to swap armor at some point, it would take some time to readjust all of the pieces. But as long as it's the same person pretty much every time, it doesn't take too much.
Okay, cool.
I should mention that it took June a little while to find something small enough for her. Because both Martians and Belters are taller than she is. So
June walks into her tailor with several crates worth of heavy armor. I'm gonna need this taken in a little bit.
Yeah.
I brought
It's
you
not
a
heavy.
mechanic.
Yeah, she only has the light armor, but that would be funny. Speaking of that, she during this downtime would also have put something out to her tailor, but is also looking on Tycho for a tailor of some kind.
Oh right, we need to go shopping, don't we?
Yes, we need to
Okay.
go shopping.
I mean, there are certainly clothing stores and tailors available. So it will kind of depend on exactly what you're looking for. This is one of those things, at least my take on the way the equipment section is set up. You can probably spend just about as much or as little on clothing as you want to. And then from there, it's a matter of, you know, the more you spend on it, the better quality of clothing you have, the more impressive it is. So it depends on where you want to go with it.
Right. Well, so June knows that as a person in her line of work, how she looks
Mhm.
is an investment, and so a lot of her money goes to her clothing. So her tailor, she doesn't have anything to do with Earth anymore.
Mhm.
So I would say that her tailor is probably in the belt somewhere. I just haven't figured out where I would put her tailor.
Mhm.
But she goes to that one person all the time because that one person knows how to do it.
Mhm.
But she's opening up other avenues if she can. She's doing her
Okay.
research to see if there are other people who could do similar work.
That you find some listings because, it's the yellow pages basically, and you're looking to see what Tycho has to offer, and you find folks that are listed as being tailors. They, that would probably, at least from what you're seeing, they'd at least make the short list for June to go check out in person. So for just basic clothing, you probably have some pretty good leads. Maybe not quite as good as the one you normally go to, but they would do in a pinch. If you were looking for someone that can take the light armor material that you have to convert it, that's going to be a little more specialized. That's going to be a little harder to track down.
Right.
So which direction is June going? Like, is she just looking for a place that she can go get some more clothes of her own?
No, so she's actually right now. What she's looking for is a place to get clothing for Chester.
Okay.
But in doing so is just looking into their credentials for more, more specialized, just to see if there's anyone like her tailor out here.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a communication. What would that be? Investigation, I think, is probably the best. Okay. You end up with, I'd say, a couple 3 that look like they would meet your standards, and so you do a little bit of probably some in-person homework before actually taking Chester.
Right.
And you do manage to, on a 15, you locate one that, again, they're probably not quite as good as your normal person for regular clothing. But there seem to be some reviews such that led you to believe that they do some other custom work. And when you get there and start talking to them, it's you are not the first person wanting to take something like, a light armor kind of jumpsuit material and turn it into something a little more fashionable. It's a very niche market. That's why there's only one of them that you can find, but you do locate somebody that can.
Okay. Well then, she at that first talk would have thanked them and then gone back to the ship and told them that she'd be coming back with her own stuff, but also another person for basic stuff.
Okay.
In their fine establishment with beautiful clothes.
How much time has passed while that was happening?
Yeah, that's my question. I also don't know if Nigel has found anything yet.
I was about to say that Nigel is searching for information on our friend Kay here.
Okay, go
while
ahead.
All this is happening.
Go ahead and do
a perception searching.
It's probably going to be more of an intelligence of some sort.
Technology.
So I'm going to show you.
Guys
why
gotta
he
try.
wants that.
Well, I'm leaning more towards intelligence research, but intelligence technology will work. It's just the target number for the test is going to be a little bit higher because it's using I feel like a slightly more broad set of skills to basically refine the Google foo that June has already done.
Okay, I would be happy to say to do that, to do an intelligence technology test, but I would also use that in supplant of intelligence research because I have hacking novice.
There you go. Then the TN will come back down.
Excellent, thank you.
What? That's amazing.
Okay.
Whoa.
That is going to take a little bit of time. Namely, I have notes that I will have to type and send you instead of regurgitating it all here. And I kind of like the idea of feeding Nigel information and seeing how much Nigel actually passes along.
Oh, yes.
So I will, for the purposes of this, I'll say that you are successful. It's just going to take some time to wade through it all.
And out of character, Nab is going to be waiting for a DM with the
If
information that
Nigel-
Final gets.
If
Yeah.
Nigel gives it to you,
That it'll go to it goes to Nigel first, and then we go from there.
buy him some Candy Crush tokens.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As for how much time, I would say when you get back, around the time you get back, you do get an alert on your terminal that you have a message for you, and it is from. It's not from Kay directly. It's from somebody that identifies as being Kay's assistant.
Lee, you mean?
Or Lee, excuse me.
We were just talking
Kay
about
is-
Kay. I get it.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yes.
be like, "Hey, what?
No,
you can do that while I'm
reaching out
unconscious."
to you from unconsciousness.
His
No,
eyes start glowing
Lee.
blue.
Essentially the message is that Lay's not in the office currently, and we'll reach out to you when she is.
Oh,
kind of
it's
cross
Lay,
checking.
not Lee. I'm sorry, I've been saying it wrong.
I pulled it off of a name generator, so I
Okay.
could be saying it wrong. I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's your character, so however you want it said. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure I'm getting it right.
That they would get back in touch with you as soon as they're in the office. And however, to speed up the process, if you could provide any information about this cargo that you have, they might be able to start checking to see what their clients, if any of their clients are looking for what you currently have.
Well, so June is going to think about that for a little bit. And then she, after figuring out how exactly she wants to go about this, will send a message in response saying, thank you, and looking forward to hear. We have various cargo, including rations, lots of food. We've got, as I mentioned, some firearms of a higher caliber, and some other various weaponry, and we'd have armor left, right? Because we're not keeping all of it.
Some of the light medium armor you would have left. The heavy armor has been
has been claimed.
Mhm.
Yes,
And painted.
Yeah,
It's been marked.
so and some armor, and we're not giving any of the drones away, right?
Right.
Okay. So yeah, she would not be specific, but she's more open than she was with with the people here.
Okay.
And I feel like it's clear by her message that they're small arms. We're not selling like torpedoes or
Yes.
PVCs or stuff.
Although,
Yeah.
if she's selling torpedoes, we'll have some of that.
Exactly.
Well, so she said, because she said firearms, right? She's not gonna.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. It's personal. It's personal. Personal. What? Not,
Just small arms.
yeah. Small arms.
And one
Okay.
anti-material rifle.
Yes. Assuming somebody doesn't decide they want to stuff that in the back of their closet between now and when it actually comes time
We'll
to.
see how Carter feels in the morning.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking strap it to the front of the ship with like a string back
poor,
to the pilot
poor
seat.
man's railgun. Fires a smaller
I'm
round
pretty
than
sure a PDC
is bigger. Yeah,
at the top of that.
Yeah.
I think the PDCs are 40 millimeter. Anything which you can't fire from a human scale weapon.
So we put Nigel on the hull with mag boots.
This is
See,
Vera.
Squirrel gets it. They'll never expect it.
Oh, I've even
Just
better
crazy
idea.
enough.
Weld
might
it to a
work.
drone.
And then make whooshing noises as you pilot the drone around in space and pretend you're a starfighter.
Pretty much. But I was thinking more, if we go to board, in a situation where we're using the drone to board an enemy ship, this is the last, they might expect a drone to have like a little gun on it or something. They're not going to expect a flipping anti-tank rifle nosing around the corner.
Yeah, 3 guys waiting in the hallway, and then they just see the barrel come out, and then just keep going and keep going.
3 minutes later, the rest of the rifle comes around the corner.
Oh my god.
The drone flying lopsidedly with the weight.
I should
Oh,
note,
man.
this is not the craziest thing I've ever heard of a party wanting to do. So this is
Do
pretty
you hear
normal.
that, guys? We gotta try harder.
Oh, please don't.
But yeah, so you send off the information. It'll take a little bit of turnaround time. Okay.
Let's get some clouds. I think, unless
So-
somebody else wants to do something.
No.
Or-
I really want to see the dress that Nab comes back for you.
Well, I think she's going to take me with her.
She's taking Chester, yeah.
Yeah. So taking Chester to the tailor.
Yeah, well, so she's gonna go on down the ladder. She's got a jumpsuit on, but it's a tailored jumpsuit,
Mm-hmm.
bright green. And she comes down. She goes, Chester.
Chester's taking a nap. He fell asleep with his terminal on his face.
Oh, Chester. She goes over to his bunk and literally knocks on the door. Chester.
He jumps and drops his terminal, scrambles for it. The oh no, I dropped my phone. Where did it go? Thing. Runs around.
Chester.
Hello, June.
Hi.
He opens the door.
Hi, Chester. How are you?
Still sorry. I was asleep. What's up? I take naps sometimes when I read.
So do I. I hate reading. So, do you want
No one's
to go buy some clothing?
I would like to acquire some nicer dress, yes, but
That's called buying clothing. So, let's go.
okay, let's go shopping.
Do you need me to like slap you in the face a little bit to wake you up?
I'm
Are you
fine.
okay?
I'm fine.
All
I'll be
right.
fine. You don't have to. Can you even reach my face?
Shut up.
He stands straighter.
Shut up. And then she turns around and goes down the ladder.
He follows.
And off they go, I guess. So, Chester, I found this wonderful place, that they can even tailor the clothing to fit your gangly self. Would you like to come with me and on the way tell me what kinds of things you're thinking that you might like?
I really don't know much about fashion. Maybe something that would look normal in like either a nice restaurant or like a meeting or something in case I need to do something official for the ship. I know you're kind of the face of things here, but I mean, I'm sort of pretty. And he smiles like really stupidly.
You
Like-
sure got a face.
Thanks. He drops his phone. Just keeps walking. I guess yeah, just some like business attire. So what I'm thinking, what DE is thinking is something. So some of the stuff that you see, like some of the politicians and stuff wearing, not like higher end like that, but it seems like the Expanse fashion is like you've got like sort of like a fitted suit coat and slacks, but it's not a dress shirt underneath. It's like a really nice t-shirt or something. I mean, It's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird how they do the fashion, but it looks good. That's what Chester's thinking of, and since DE doesn't know how to explain that, that's what he says. Like, this particular fashion that I've seen on the inter-system web.
Okay, so that gives me a good idea. Do you have any favorite colors? What's your favorite color?
I like... He He looks at looks at her jumpsuit as he says, "Green." Well, yes, green's my favorite. I also like blue and I like kind of darker but still vibrant colors. Anything, and don't tell Thomas this, but anything but red, please. Anything but red.
Fascinating. I don't like wearing red either, but that's just because it clashes with my hair.
Growing up on Mars, everything is red. Everything. And then you wear a red patch on your black uniform, and then you get red ribbons for your black uniform. So, like, yeah, I'm tired of red.
All right.
I will deny this if
making
you
a
ever say
note.
anything about it to Thomas.
Oh, why would I ever say anything about it? I have no chips in this game.
Okay, I like chips too. He looks over it. There's a chip shop like the across the way. It's been an hour since he's eaten, and he's looking over at the chip shop. But he follows June to the fancy dress place. Not a dress, but fancy clothing place.
Yes. You arrive at the tailor, and you kind of end up going through the same questions over again with the tailor. Only they have like examples of some of the clothing, so they kind of work you through the process. So then the question becomes, basically how deep into Chester's pockets is Chester planning to reach in order to pay for this? Like how expensive does he want to go?
No idea what clothing costs. Chester
Okay.
Chester buys coveralls like from Space Amazon.
Okay.
Like that's so he has no idea.
Any of the prices that are quoted probably blow you away, or blow Chester away. But then the question out of character for DE as a player is like, if you want to stay inside, I think
I'm income four.
The way the income works is you take 4 plus your income, and that's what you can purchase without really stressing your finances. It's only after that you have to roll.
Chester usually doesn't like to stress his finances, but he's willing if it seems like it's something that could help him. And also, this is him trying to find his place, and he like June seems to enjoy the shopping thing, so he's like, how about that one? He sets one that's like just a little out of his price range, but he could probably swing it. He's pretty confident he can swing it.
Okay.
Hasn't checked his bank balance in a while. He's really hoping that the card doesn't get rejected. And he's going to pull up his income here and throw some dice at the table.
So let's see. You said your income score is 4?
Yes. Let me double check that and make sure I just wasn't remembering it wrong.
Okay. Just so we can get I want to be able to give some folks the kind of range that we're looking at.
It's on equipment. Yes. Income 4.
Okay.
I don't know how June has paid for any of her clothes because her income is 2.
That's why her income is 2.
So I guess.
Because I think
keeps getting credit cards to pay off the last one.
You forget
every
to bring
time
money
you
bags
roll
with you.
So let's see. To
I
run
think
through
that
this.
She takes one job at a time because that's what her job is, right? Is the better she makes the deal, the more money she can get.
I imagine that also occasionally June has had the opportunity to get like a fairly lucrative job, but then somebody else woos her away, but like, hey, we'll buy you a wardrobe while you work on this. And she was like, oh, I'm in. I can't believe I'm role-playing shopping for clothes. This is hilarious.
Honestly, she probably has also been comped a fair few things because of her attractiveness.
Yep, that's probably true too.
Pretty privilege is a real thing. I wish it weren't, but it is.
Income 41. Oh, I'm definitely the wrong place. Okay.
A man doing
income
something
tests
stupid in the presence of a pretty girl. This has never happened before.
Okay, income tests are used to determine what you can afford, what goods and services you can reasonably access. Item has a target number to purchase, also called its cost. Purchase. Okay. So essentially, we're shooting for something in a target number of a 9 or so.
Okay.
If you're just going, because like you could get up to an 8 and it wouldn't stress. So
Yeah, we'll target something. Let's give him the opportunity to have the terminal be like denied, and then just for the risk there.
Yeah.
As a player, I feel like that's more fun.
And the clerk snaps your terminal in half.
Get out of here, Martian scum!
I would point out, while you have the option of a lot of different like material types and cuts and exactly how fitted it is, this is definitely one of those places that the more you lean towards like the kind of stuff that Chester would normally buy, there's definitely some like sour and maybe condescending looks from the staff that are helping you. Yeah. They're definitely encouraging you to bump it higher.
Yeah, I'm imagining that what he's picking is a lot more form fitting that he's usually. It's not like skin tight or anything, but you know how like a fitted suit, like really like this is the shape of this human. It's that kind of thing, and he's like, this is
comes out with a mankini.
Only for you, Thomas. Only for you.
Ugh, no thanks.
Full on kilt.
I said I wasn't getting a dress.
That's not a dress. That's only half a dress.
That's true.
Okay, so you will roll. It's 3d6 plus your income score, and the target number is, in this case, 9. It's the number that you're shooting for.
Okay, here we go. Item cost is 9, right?
Yeah, if that you're shooting for just outside of. Oh, okay.
Oh, nice. Sweet, I got paid recently.
Yep, you are.
That's why I'm looking for snacks. I know I've got all the money.
You kind of finish up, and they take all of the measurements, and then, they're kind of showing you a picture of what it should look like. They'll have to take some time to actually, make it. There'll be a final fitting. Take a little bit of time, but before they start on it, you do have to pay, and so you are able to acquire. I'd say if you wanted, given that role, you could almost basically get 2.
They had like a buy one get one free special or something.
I mean, you're certainly you're not getting anything for free,
right? But it's like a first time
buy one
thing.
Get second one for full price, kind of thing. We'll make you a heck of a deal, but you would be able to afford that if you wanted to.
They're dropping the Martian surcharge, basically, is what they're doing. Yeah. Because I'm so tall, they don't know I'm not a belter.
So yeah, you're able to acquire. It'll take a little bit of time. I have no idea how long it takes to make things like this in the Expanse, but it'll take a little bit of time.
I would say probably at least a day or two. Just because I can't imagine you can automate that terribly much.
Yeah. So it'll take a couple of days, and they'll need you back for a final fitting, and then they'll get everything taken care of.
Okay.
So, and then for folks watching, one of the things with these income tests, you can really shoot for the moon on these. Like you can really try to buy something above and beyond what you have the income for.
Yeah, I could have bought something that was 17, but I believe there's a significant penalty for doing something like that.
If you successfully purchase something with a cost greater than your current income score plus 10, so for you it would be 14, which that would have been if you had been shooting for that initially, your income score decreases. You lose 1 point until we hit an interlude, and you have an opportunity to, I think, bump that back up.
Cool. All right. I got some fancy new clothes on order.
Yep.
So at one point, after having picked out, some blues, some greens, some other things, anything but red, Chester's standing up on like the little platform with the mirrors and stuff, and June, I imagine June's right there because he's like, I don't want to be left alone with all these people.
Yeah, and these wouldn't be his actual suits. They would just
these are just they're pinning stuff up on me to see how it looks. And the basic fit is kind of complete, and he's like, "Huh? Is it? What does it look? Do I look like I am not a coverall wearing person?"
I think suits suit you. Nothing suits you like a suit.
I wish I had more pockets.
Sorry, pockets aren't really a thing when you're doing negotiations
Where am I gonna
or
keep my
things like that.
snacks?
Probably in your mouth. June walks up and she's not really in the way. She's at a respectful distance, but she's very much a part of this fitting.
Mhm.
And is looking at how it's fitting, like even like around his wrists, and making slight suggestions to the tailors as to, hey, maybe what would it look like if you pull it in here or let it out here. And then she kind of looks back, and she's like, what do you like the idea of having a pup in your look, or do you just want to be nice and muted?
Kind of depends on what you mean by a pop.
Well, say we have the shirt underneath your jacket be a brighter color. And not white. I don't mean white. White is the brightest, I guess, but I'm not going to have you wear white.
What color did you have in mind?
I don't know. I was just thinking, if you are wearing, for example,
It's like the outer layers are like dark blue with like, I don't know, like green metallic buttons.
Yeah. I was thinking that maybe even a burnt orange, just to be like, oh, look, there's a splash of color, but it's not like construction orange.
I don't know. Seems kind of rusty. Although, I did know this guy down in the settlement on New Sydney who really liked orange, so he was all right. Well, we can see how it looks. We can see how it looks.
Okay. I just want you to be happy. I want you to enjoy your clothes. Clothes are meant to be enjoyed.
Oh, well, I'm not sure I'll do them justice, but I definitely feel, ow, and one of the people pokes him with a pin. Fancier. I feel like this is the kind of thing that fancy people put themselves through to look nice.
Well, you aren't wrong there. I'm thinking that if you are looking to get a second suit, you definitely want to have a black option.
Oh, okay.
I think that if you have a black jacket and pants, then you can eventually get shirts to go underneath that you could mix and match. It's harder to do that with a colored suit.
With the test, so I'm able to afford 2 outfits or 2 like just the suits, Squirrel?
I would say you could do either 2 completely different outfits, or if you wanted to have like you buy a suit and then you buy a couple of different shirts or other accessories to go with it, so you can kind of change up the look.
Yeah, because what I was thinking is like, so like I get the black suit, the blue suit, and then like two shirts as well, just so I can have different colors and I can mix and match a little bit if I wanted to, was my thought. Because Chester likes green and he wants to have a shirt that's the same color as his eyes, which are also green.
I think you could you'd be able to pull that off.
Okay. So he's going to he'll do that, and then with a black outer suit, and then a green shirt that's kind of the same cut as what he's got here, which is, I'll decide later, but it'll be nice. So he's done all the paying, and the poking and prodding has been done. And then as he's getting down, he's like, "Were you going to try something here, or was this just for me?"
It would take much too long. Although they have all sorts of fun things here.
I see. Well, should we head back to the ship? How long has this taken, by the way? I'm trying to decide if it's going to make him a glutton if he gets something from the chip shop.
I mean, it's probably taken a while. I have not personally been in to have clothing, like,
if he
done.
has gotten into the suit and has been pinned up and measurements taken, it's taken at least an hour and a half.
Yeah, I figured it's probably been at least that long.
Okay. Well, I saw a chip shop on the way here. Do you want to grab some chips? They smelled like real potatoes. I don't know if they were, but the smell was convincing. I like snacks. I'm sorry. I really like.
I gathered that. That's okay. You got a friend in me.
All
I
right.
enjoy snacking too.
And so he kind of like happily, like walk out, and in the back of his mind, he's like, "Friend, I have a friend."
June calls back, "Thank you. I'll be back later." And then she goes up to Chester and she puts her own arm out, like in a hook, just like, "Will you take my arm, sir, while we go to the chip shop?"
He puts his arm through like he's the feminine component of the equation, and follows her to the chip shop.
Yep. And by the way, I meant to ask, when he was looking at her earlier in her green suit, you mentioned just a quick look, but what kind of look was that?
So you said it was form fitting, and
It was.
his favorite color is green, and his favorite color is green, and he noticed just how attractive you were, and you're very perceptive, so you would have noticed this.
Yes.
But also noticed that when he said that, just as he's saying it, and felt really embarrassed because he's like, and now it sounds like I'm hitting on her. I'm not hitting on her. I'm not.
I like green. I like green.
I like green.
Blue.
And blue and other colors.
Yeah.
He's not trying to make a move on June at all. He was just like, wow, she's attractive. No, wait, no, coworker.
Okay.
Welcome to the banana stand.
It's your fault for picking that stat, okay?
I didn't pick it. I rolled it.
It's your fault for rolling that stat.
Anyway, so June's got him this huge person connected to her, and just walks in with this air of, "I am happy. I just bought clothes. So to help somebody feel good." And walks in there and goes, "Good evening? Is it evening? I don't even know what time it is."
I think it's evening now because
Yeah.
we waited a day, right? It was the morning. We got back, and then morning, and then
Enough time has passed. It can be whatever time of day that you would
Okay.
want.
Okay. I'd say it's evening. You took a
probably.
nap. It's
I did
evening.
take a nap, yeah, and it's usually about 4 for
Yeah.
PE.
Good evening. We smelled some fantastic chips on our way shopping a little while ago, and we were wondering if we could get something to eat.
The proprietor of the little chip shop is, very expressive and very, very happy to have a customer come in, and very much talking up the praises of how they have the best chips on the station. Even relating back this very unlikely story of how even Fred Johnson came through once. It's kind of like their claim to fame sort of thing.
Did they have like a little picture on the wall with like a fake Fred Johnson signature?
There's not a picture.
It's just a claim.
But it's a claim. So you're able to purchase some chips, as well as whatever other sides or items you would like to have with it.
Yeah. I'm assuming that in the future they're going to be called chips, not fries, because more people actually call them chips than fries. So, also the British are rather imperial about all that, and they probably nuked everybody who was not calling them fries.
I feel like the Belters would call them something completely different just to spite
probably.
Earth.
Just to be obstinate.
They call them chips on Mars because they inherited everything from America except for what they call their French fries. Anyway, so he orders 2 things
They
of
probably
chips.
call them sticks.
Sticks, and then and he's smelling them right as he gets it, and then he's got salt and pepper, which I'm pretty sure is fairly easy to get, and then whatever like vinegary dipping sauce they have, and he smells them and he goes, "Are these real potatoes?"
How likely would it be that they would be real? Well, one way or the other, you are going to be assured that they are real. Whether they are or not,
I would like to roll intuition, please.
Sure. Go ahead and roll.
How do I apply that focus?
You click the check mark that says bonus or whatever next to it. June knows if they're chips or not, I think.
Well, he said whether or not. That doesn't necessarily mean they're not.
Yeah. Potatoes are pretty easy to grow, aren't they? Have people grown potatoes in space before? I imagine.
I think on the station they have been.
Feel like they
working with
can
them.
be.
I think so. Maybe he's got like a little potato plot in the back, and he's like, "These are my potatoes."
So like basically,
Definitely
if
grow
you-
them on Mars.
Yeah, well, yeah. As we know from The Martian, obviously.
They do. There's lots of dirt on Mars.
So yeah, I feel like if you have a recycler of organic matter, you're gonna be able to not only grow mushrooms but potatoes as well.
I think what June gets, these are real, but you also gather that the shop probably isn't above like cutting the real ones with some fake ones.
Right.
But given June's presence, you're probably getting like the real thing all the way through.
Okay. So
Sweet.
yeah.
I don't ask. I just accept that he said that they were real. And I was like, "Well, thank you very much." And I hand the, I've handed the other one to June, and we're just walking back to the ship, munching on our chips. Chester burns his tongue a little bit, but doesn't care because he's so happy he's got chips. He hasn't had a good batch of them since like he was on Mars, in the Martian potatoes and the from Damon Farms, which is the biggest farm conglomerate on Mars. That's canon now.
June makes sure to thank him for the snack.
Well, thank you for helping me. I figures, you helped me out with looking not like, and he just kind of gestures at his coveralls. And so, yeah.
You don't look bad, Chester. You just don't look your best. And I am very happy to have possibly help you look your best.
Well, thank you. And he folds up one of the napkins they handed him, puts it directly into the pocket, and goes, "See, pockets are good." And starts walking back to the ship.
June she comes with him. That's the end of that little soiree.
And scene.
Hey, I mean, this is tabletop. I love moments where I have to decide whether the potato or whether the chips are real or not. This is yeah, epic space battles. You can do whatever you want with those. Are the potatoes real?
That's the real question.
That's the important question.
So the thing that attracted me about tabletop after watching Let's Plays and things like that, or not Let's Plays, but real play stuff, is very much the little role play bits, like, when watching Wasted and them do their FFG stuff, somebody's digging through the garbage and finds like, oh, hey, look, a toy, or, in watching D&D players go through and somebody's like, oh yeah, well, hang on, I gotta get some donuts, and they have this whole like 20-minute thing where they get donuts, and the donuts do literally nothing to affect the story or stats or anything. They just wanted some donuts, and I love the little pieces like that.
You say that, but I don't think you've gotten to the part of campaign 2 where Laura Bailey wins D&D with pastry.
Okay, well, I look forward to it.
That's coming. But okay. Does anybody else have anything? As some clothing is being purchased, I think we are rolling up on the top of the hour. So,
I did have a question.
Sure.
So Thomas is a pilot, but I don't know much of his background really. In the chat, Kander was mentioning how people go to Nigel for research stuff, but that Thomas actually has skills in it, and I have no idea. He didn't offer any of this information. I don't know any of this.
I know. I started to say it, and I thought, no, Thomas wouldn't say anything.
Thomas doesn't want to do the research. He's done with all that.
Oh no, he'd be quite happy to. He just wouldn't have thought to say anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, June didn't say anything to anyone else about the information she got anyway, so. But...
Exactly. My comment was very much I quite like how it's sort of in character.
Yeah.
I mean, out of character, Thomas's background is actually as an academic, and with that came research and the research focus and a knowledge talent.
It sounds like next session needs to be a karaoke night where we all just talk to each other. And sing
the
horribly.
entire campaign is just Tycho Station and us playing around.
The ship never gets retrofitted.
You
It's
say
just us
that, but
goofing.
one of the recent episodes of Campaign 3 was basically 45 minutes of Matt Mercer needing to do nothing while Taliesin introduced a really interesting way in character of letting everybody like trade some background information. So yeah, I mean, those things are great.
It's fun, and I like I like seeing the characters get to know each other. Anyway, we've got about just a little bit under 20 minutes left according to my clock.
Yep, that's what I was looking at.
So, there's anything else we'd like to do, now's the time. Otherwise, we can move on to the next tick if you have a tick for us to talk to.
No, because I think it was, since it is getting into basically what I have in the back of my head, the reason that nobody was in the office was like time zone changes.
Okay.
Like you called them at the very end of the day and the boss has already left, so you're gonna have to wait till tomorrow morning, kind of thing.
Okay.
So, and if you're dealing with a cold, I've actually got some errands that I need to run here.
Oh, fair enough. That's fair enough.
So, if we wanted to wrap up, or I guess if chat has any questions, I can certainly
actually that's a good
field
idea.
some of those real quick.
So,
But once again, anybody in here who the players, do you have anything else you want to get off before we're done?
I'm quite happy.
Yep, I'm good.
Carter, you good?
I'm good, yes, sir.
All right. And I might have to call this episode Whiskey and Potatoes or something like that.
There you go.
Chip off the old block.
There we go.
There you go.
So, since we have a little bit of time left here, chat, is there any questions you have for us? Anything? Open up to you. We don't usually do this during these streams. We usually just bamf out. But there's a few you watching.
Usually we end up we're pushing right up to the line, as tabletop sessions do.
It's kind of nice when it kind of hits a spot where you feel like, hey, that's a good ending spot, and you just like, yeah, we'll just call it there.
Yeah. And I don't know about anybody else, but I get images in my head when there's roleplay involved.
The roleplay, I think, is my favorite part of the whole thing.
And I, like, if I had the time and the expertise, I would be like making art for this little art thing that you have on the stream.
Yeah,
but it's literally there, right? Do you want to see your game related art on stream? If you are one of those people and you have the talent and you want to share your art with us, like, I would love to see how people interpret what is being done.
Chips. Game session.
Carter curled up with the two heavy armor suits positioned so they're hugging him.
He's spooning one of the suits is what's happening.
Yes.
I do have an image that came into my head at one point of Carter like sticking his head under his mattress and like cutting into the bottom of it, just like stuffing things in there.
Like I said, it's next to his lingerie magazine. He's got stuffed under his mattress.
The first tool that he makes sure is purchased for the planned machine shop is actually one of those battery operated sawzalls, just cutting the bottom out of his bunk to make the smuggler compartment.
I love it.
Well, I mean, there's all the space in between the two holes to hide things.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't look like chat has any questions. I see Dario says, in the game session I'm GMing, a donut scene occurred where one of the characters pretended to be an NPC and charmed the pants off of another player. Which I'm sure sounds very innuendo, but I bet you they literally charmed the pants off the other player.
Yep. That's the way those things usually go.
Yep.
It's like
But,
they
Shout
big-
out to Green Ronin for letting us use their art assets.
Oh, yeah, for
that
sure.
was mentioned at the beginning, and to the folks over at Green Ronin that are working on putting out the system here for Foundry, because it runs so very, very smoothly,
Oh yeah, this is better than what we
and
were
it-
doing.
and
Yeah.
it works wonderfully. So a lot of thanks to them, and dealing with the back and forth as I've found things as I was setting up this last week, getting things transferred over, and getting things corrected. So
Awesome. Well, on that note, I'm just going to push this thanks for watching screen, and yeah, have a good one, everybody.